We got some major focus into Aqua's mental state and how far he will go to achieve his goals, even at the expense of those around him. With another amazing episode of Oshinoko after a week off, which quite frankly felt like it was a month, right? We all desperately tried to figure out what might transpire after Akane stunned everyone by interpreting I in episode 7. And yet again, what a horrible cliffhanger to leave us on. The border between him and Aqua Hoshino is rapidly disappearing, ending well for her. However, Akane is a very smart girl